How's your finger looking good?
Friends don't lie. Yeah, well, boyfriends lie. All the time.
What are you doing?
Peeing?
How many times, Dad? I don't do drugs.
You can't spell America without Erica.
Am I dreaming or is that you, Harrington?
Yeah, it's me. Don't cream your pants.
Mornings are for coffee and contemplation.
Welcome to Just a Piece of Stranger Things. Today we are dissecting Season 1, Chapter 7, The Bathtub. We thank you for sharing a piece of your time and a piece of your day as we bring you a piece of a little show called Stranger Things. My name is Chris. I am joined by Sterling. Sterling, did you watch the episode?
Chris, not only did I watch the episode, I immediately said, I got to get in the bathtub because I got to get some of this stank off me because I'm not going to lie to you, Chris. I don't think I like this episode that much.
Oh, that's a hot take.
Hot take. Hot take.
Wow.
It's not bad.
Hot take alert.
I'll preface this. It's not bad. Just compared to the other ones in the season, it's much less action-packed, much less is happening in this episode than, let's say, the previous two. So maybe I'll reword that, but in the grand, larger scheme of things, not my favorite of season 1.
Man, I wonder if we go through it scene by scene, maybe you'll feel a little different because I'm coming in thinking like this might be the most thrilling of the episodes.
Oh, okay.
I I was also looking up on IMDb some reviews for it, and it's highly reviewed. It's the second top rated episode in this season. The only one higher is the next one, the finale, which is easy because it's the finale. Most finales are highly rated, but
sure.
A lot of the things that I was hearing and I agreed with was thrilling episode from the start, suspenseful, mysterious, well directed, acted, written, edited, you name it. So I don't know. I thought it was a pretty good one. I guess I could kind of see it is different than the other ones because this one, I thought it was more action packed and I thought it was a little more of a thriller and not a horror. Maybe I don't know. I enjoyed it thoroughly.
Yeah. I think this is maybe the shortest episode of the season. It's under 40 minutes.
I think it might be one of the shortest episodes of the series. But
yeah,
it's compact and it's fun. I don't know. I liked it.
If you don't count the credits, I think it's 39 minutes and 12 seconds, something like that. So it's a pretty short episode of what we've kind of grown used to what Stranger Things is, especially in season 4 and 5. But I think, and maybe it was my expectations of when does the van flip scene happen? I thought that was the culmination of, I thought it was the culmination of the episode. It's the very beginning, and you're like, oh, okay,
with the van flip
remember
early,
any of this
because I've tried to name what we do in our post game. So let's tell everybody what we do. We are doing our pregame, which seems a little heated with Sterling having an interesting take on the episode. We're doing our pregame, then we'll do some play by play, and then our post game. Post game has MVP, our favorite quote, and what I've deemed our episode's defining moment. The moment. What's the singular moment in the episode where this happened? And you're talking about the van flip, where I think it is the defining moment, but we might find one other. But it is hard to have the defining moment before the title crawl. So I do agree that the van flip comes early.
This was a weird one because again, my remembering the episode, I thought this was towards the end. And I think maybe had it been the kind of stinger at the end of the last episode, it would have made more sense. But it felt like without that scene, nothing really happens. This is to me the most filler episode of this season, and it's not bad in that regard. People come together, you have characters finally kind of, well, I learned this and I learned that, and you start to kind of see the commencing of their plan when they go to the high school and everything. And I think it's a good episode. I just think in the overall picture of season 1, I think it is the most filler that we've gotten so far, which makes sense. It's kind of like the calm before the storm of the finale, which is very action-packed with the demo and the Hawkins Lab and the government. And it's kind of gearing you up to ramping you up to that climax, which is fine. I don't hate this by any means. But it was a lot kind of, at least in my opinion, I'm like, okay, what's the next thing we're building towards? We're ramping up and up and up and up. Then it's okay, kind of coming down to go right back up again in season or episode 8. So maybe that was my kind of expectations I had set for this episode and kind of being let down to some regard. But I didn't hate it. I think there's a lot of great character moments in this one. Joyce and Hopper, Joyce and 11 for the kind of first time talking to each other. You get Mike and Lucas and they're kind of reconnecting and Lucas apologizing to 11 and everything. So there's a lot of good here that I like. And maybe it's kind of taking a step back and realizing that before I kind of come out and say, I didn't like the episode.
I will give you this.
Yeah.
So I had thought this from when the episode first starts. It's almost as if it's just picking up right from the last episode. So like, remember when they go inside of the basement, close the door, and then they're just in the bathroom washing off 11. So it did have a feel of just like, you could have combined the 2 episodes if you wanted to, because if you look forward to like season 4 and 5, when we got 1.5 2-hour episodes, they could have easily combined episode 6 and 7. So I do have that. It does have that feel. I get that. And with how short this one is, you could have combined it. It's just, it's definitely this season is, you could just, every season, I think, you could just binge watch them all. They all just flow right into the next. It's not like normal TV shows where you end one place and then you start the next one in another place. It just flows. So
yeah, I think that maybe, especially in season 1, like this to me is the most like strictly sit down and watch the whole thing in a night and a half or 2 days, right? Like this episode with where it starts and where it leads from, like like I said, you can combine these into one episode basically, and you wouldn't miss a beat. It's nice in that regard because like you just go on to the next one and you're like, oh, we're right here, nothing changed, and like we're just kind of ramping ourselves through to the next one. But yeah, it felt kind of weird of like we're continuing, but also I felt like had you just took 15 minutes here and 15 minutes here and to kind of put them in episode 6 and 8, it may have made for a better cohesive 2-episode arc than 3 episodes of like one's really good, one's filler, and one's an amazing finale. So it's all preference, but that was certainly mine.
Yeah, I mean, and maybe they just had trouble finding where to have the page break, where to split 6 and 7. And I did kind of have that already in my notes too, of just where the episode starts. It just starts in a bathroom and they're just washing off. So it is a odd way to just start the episode, because it's just like,
that's how I often start my mornings, in a bathroom where I'm just washing off.
Yeah. Well, I think it is still a very thrilling episode, and I think it is. There are a lot of fun moments just with all the characters, because they're all together finally, man. I put here, this is the Avengers Assemble episode, which we generally get in every season, when everyone finally comes together and they're all working together, and they're kind of split into 3s. It's the adults, it's like the middle, like
teenagers,
high school kids, and then middle school kids. Yeah. So Jonathan and Nancy are the high schoolers, and you got the middle school kids. So you got the 3, and all 3 are together. All the groups are together. Everyone's together, and I always love that when that finally happens, because you're just waiting for that the whole season. Every season, you're like, "What? I want them all to get together and talk and interact and start figuring stuff out." So, anyways, anything else that you have before we get into it?
Dude, let's get into this one. I am ready.
Let's do it. We got season 1, chapter 7, The Bathtub. And as I mentioned, it just picks up right. It's called The Bat. We're not there yet, man. We're not there yet.
It doesn't matter.
He's excited.
We'll do it twice.
You love Stranger Things no matter what. You love it. But we're in the bathroom. So, like I said, they're just right into the story, just continuing from last time. 11 is looking in the mirror. She's looking at her hair. She's got no wig, and she kind of feels a little weird about it. And Mike tells her, "You don't need it. You're fine. You look great." She goes, "Do I look pretty?" He goes, "Yeah, really pretty." Yeah. Where in a couple episodes earlier, he was like, "Oh, pretty good." Remember, he was kind of like trying to not look like, "Oh, I'm into you," but now he's like, "Yeah, really pretty." So good job, Mike. He's growing up there. And then I also liked how he said, "I'm happy you're home." That was kind of cute.
Yeah. Well, then she goes, "Me too."
Me too. And then they lean in for a kiss that just gets broken up by Dustin. It always gets broken up in these movies. That always happens a couple times. But he just barges in. Guys, it's Lucas. He's screaming, Lucas is on the radio. Come on, come on. And then they go and try to listen for Lucas on the radio. It's a little scratchy at first, but then they finally hear him say, the bad men are coming. So Mike looks out the window and he sees the repair van with the Mr. Mustache guy. And he's like, what is that? What is that? He runs and finds Karen, she's on the phone talking to someone. He's just trying to yell past all that. Mom, come on, Mom, what's going? Mom, do you have a repairman coming? And she's like, no, what do you mean? And then Dustin shows up because he sees a bunch more vans showing up, right? And I love when Dustin just walks in and goes, we need to leave right now. Like he's just pausing in between every word. I just thought that was funny how he did that. That's just maybe his overacting a little bit, but it works. Mike, I love Mike when he tells his mom, if anyone asks, I've left the country.
Yeah,
that one.
Great quote. Great quote.
Yeah. And I do think
even Lucas yelling on the radio, the bad men are coming. Yeah. The bad men are coming.
Yeah, and this is kind of where I start seeing, like, I think their acting is really good in this scene, like in this episode, because the kids are doing a great job. They're acting very scared. They know the stakes have just really risen because the bad men are here. The guys from the lab, they're scared. They need to get out of there. And they still don't bring the parents in. Like, Karen's right there. They're like, Mom, you can't help us. We're out of here. I love that part. So they take off outside. They kind of run up the hill with their bikes and they hop on. And then did you notice how so Brenner gets out of one of the trucks and you see how him and 11 lock eyes? I thought that was kind of cool. And then they take off through the backyard. And I put here, I like how Hawkins is set up where they can escape from on bikes from these vans because they can just ride through all of these backyards of the houses because no one has fences anywhere. I guess it's kind of a cool setup. And
it's very Midwest. Very Midwest.
I guess I'm not used to that here, but I think it's cool because it just gives them a way to escape vans who are on the road just riding through backyards. Gave me a little bit of Ferris Bueller action because Ferris Bueller was running through backyards to get back home at one point.
Yeah.
And this will also happen in season 5 too when they're in the car driving looking for the Demogorgon. So, although they do run into a couple fences, you got to have a couple to run into. It looks cool in the car, right? Did you also notice how Dustin has Lucas on a headset? He's got his headset on and it's hooked up to his radio or something. I thought that was cool. Good
they
touch.
Are AV Club kids for a reason.
Yeah, well, and because they're able to connect, and I like how they're going back and forth. Like, where do you want to meet us? I forget where he said, like Chestnut or something. Like, okay, we're going to Chestnut. Here we go. They're trying to link back up with Lucas. I think the vans catch up to them, but then they lose them again through the backyard. So that was cool. And then Lucas finally catches up to them. Dustin's like, I think we lost him. But no, the vans are back. And then another van turns the corner in front of them. So now they're surrounded. They got vans on both sides. And now this is where we get the van flip. Boom! So cool. We get the van flip. We got the slow-mo. It's awesome. They zoom in on 11, how she looks at it with her, zooms in with her eyes. Boom, van's flipping over them. It looks awesome as the kids look up at it. And I think it was a practical effect too. I kind of read up on it a little bit. They actually flipped this thing, so I thought that was pretty sweet. You got anything to say about the van flip?
It's awesome. Like, we have seen her powers slowly increase from a little fan to breaking somebody's arm to then slamming doors, and now it's she's just flipping gigantic, 1,000-pound vans like it's no one's business and no one's problem. And if you notice, while it takes a lot out of her, it takes a lot less out of her than what they flash back to. So there is a sense of she is getting stronger as the season kind of continues.
I had a small take on that. I wonder if that's adrenaline, because people feel that when they're playing sports and things, or when they're scared, and she was scared. And so maybe the adrenaline kicks in and she can do a little bit more without it fully affecting her or her feeling it as much. So.
Well, then you see later on in the episode where it kind of wears off, where she's like, I got to recharge. That was a lot for me. I got to give it a minute before I can go find Will or Barbara.
But so she flips it and it blocks the other van, so they're able to escape. And then I love it when Brenner gets out of the van and he kind of walks up and peers off at her. And I think he's just thinking to himself, I'm not even mad, 11. I'm impressed. The way he's just like looking at her like,
It's like in Anchorman, do you eat the whole cheese wheel? I'm not even mad.
I'm not even mad. I'm impressed. Yeah,
Wow.
that's what I felt from Brenner. And then when they ride to the junkyard, so they're gonna hide at the junkyard, and Dustin first goes, "Did you see that?" He's all breathing heavily. "Did you see that?" And Mike goes, "No, we missed it." Fitting in a little humor there. And then he goes, "It was awesome." The awesome is coming from Lucas because Lucas says it was awesome. And then he apologizes to 11, saying everything bad that I said about you, I was wrong and I am sorry. And then 11 goes on to say, friends don't lie. And I'm sorry too. And then Mike also fills that in with me too. And they get their handshake, him and Lucas. They finally shake and everything's good again. And then we get the title crawl. But this was a long scene. I mean, I had a whole page of notes just from the right before we got the title crawl. That was a lot of stuff going on there.
I think while you can talk about the van flip and how great it is, which it is, like it's an awesome set piece. It's really cool for what I guess and maybe how little budget they had. Like this is kind of a movie, and it has sparing CGI in some places. They try to hide it because of the dark shadows with the Demogorgon. You don't see that later in the more seasons. But to do this, it's like this was so impressive for what the show became and what they were kind of going for in season 2 and 3 and everything. Like this is awesome. But I think there's a character moment. Yeah.
Okay.
But as a character moment, I think it's really good to see. And it's important to see, like, there is growth of these characters where, you have a really good TV show, but the writing can be kind of stagnant at times. Some characters, even in this show, like Will, can get left behind at times in seasons 2 and 3, and really even 4. But in this season, because they aren't really, dealing with 20 main characters, albeit there's still like 10 of them, they're able to have these small moments and kind of spend this time together with each other. And like Lucas apologizing to 11 apologizing to him, where really neither one of them were wrong based on the information they had, but it does kind of show like our friendship, even if it is sometimes or has been adversarial, like they can survive this and they can come together and be kids and, put their pride aside and come together. But also too, I don't know about you, but the Mike and Lucas handshake where it like cuts to their hands, it reminded me of Predator when Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I'm forgetting his name, so forgive me, when they shake hands and he goes, "Dylan, you son of a bitch," and like it zooms in on their muscles.
Nice.
I was like, I would have loved that.
I like that.
Carl Weathers is his name. Sorry.
Yes.
Dutch and Carl Weathers' character.
Nice. I like it.
Dylan, you son of a bitch.
But like we said, I feel like we might have gotten our singular episode right there with the van flip, but we'll see. Maybe we feel different later, but kind of leaning on that one right now.
Yep.
But after the title crawl, we fade through the title like I always like, and we're at the police station. Hop and Joyce are arriving because they got the call that Jonathan was there. He was arrested, remember? And when they go in and Jonathan's in handcuffs and Joyce yells, "Take those off. What are you doing? This is stupid." Acting like she's part of the police brigade.
Yeah, like she has any power in there at all.
Yeah. And then, because she's with Hop, so she's got backup. And then Callahan's like, "He assaulted a police officer." Yeah, you. That was your fault too, by the way, Callahan. You couldn't avoid the elbow. You need to know how to break up a fight. You're a cop. And then Hop goes, "You heard her. Take them off." He's on her side. And then Pal shows them their monster hunting gear. And then that's when Hop's a little thrown off. Now he's like, "Wait, okay, maybe don't take them off quite yet." He's like, "We need to talk, mister." He goes, "Come talk to me in my office," talking to Jonathan. And then Jonathan's like, "You won't believe me anyways." And then Hop's like, "Yeah, give me a try."
Yeah, try.
I've been hanging out with Terry Ives all day. I've seen some stuff.
Yes.
So, and then the next scene is that we're in the Wheelers' basement. And it's Karen down there by herself, and she's finally going down to the basement to see what her kids are doing down there. It took her long enough.
Yeah.
She sees the fort. Inside the fort, she sees some hairs from the wig. Although I don't probably doesn't know they're from a wig. She's just like, someone's down here losing hair. And then the doorbell rings upstairs, and we cut to Ted, who's just a minute, Jiminy Crickets. Mr. Ted being Ted.
Love it.
And then it's Brenner and the lab people at the door. That same lady who's popped Benny. Don't trust her. They come in. They're searching the house. They're searching the basement. Although I don't know what they're looking for. What are they hoping to find? I don't even know.
Probably just
This looks
evidence
random.
that she's there. Like,
I guess.
But I do love the Ted quote when they show him the picture of 11. He goes, "What happened to her hair?"
Yeah, well, that's when they go back upstairs and they're talking to them, right? Yeah, that's the first thing.
Is she? He goes, "Is she Russian?"
Is she Russian? I know. I got those. It's so funny. Where's her hair? Is she Russian? So Ted, but Karen, she's hysterical talking to these people. Well, she's specifically talking to that lady at first.
Yeah.
And then, so because she's hysterical, Brenner's like, we don't got time for these hysterics. So he's all, swap spots with me, lady. So he sits down and he's like, we're going to do the good cop, bad cop thing. I'm going to be the good cop. And he talks with the way he talks, we all low.
He's like, hello, they call me Papa.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, all right, bro.
And he goes, yeah, he's like, he tells them Mike is in danger. I want to help him. I need to help him. You need to trust me. Do you trust me? And Karen just nods. She doesn't say yes. She nods. She's like, I guess, maybe. I don't know. You look weird.
I don't even know who you are.
Yeah, sure. I'll trust you. Whatever. Then we cut back to the junkyard. You got Lucas and the kids are talking about what Lucas saw at the lab. He saw like the military and weapons and soldiers. Mike brings up Russians. So we get another call at the Russians. And then Mike says that they can't go home because we're fugitives. I love that part. We're fugitives now. Yeah. We can't go home. But then there's a chopper coming. A helicopter is coming. So they're quick thinking and they hide their bikes under the bus and then they hop into the bus. So I thought that was kind of cool. Hiding the bikes. And then we cut to Hopper's office again. And they're showing pictures. Jonathan and Nancy are showing pictures of the Demogorgon to Hopper and Joyce. Just a quick little scene in his office. Then we cut to the hallway, which is also a quick scene, but it's just Joyce and Jonathan talking about Will and they need to work together, stuff like that. Good scene for Joyce and Jonathan.
It's kind of just like Jonathan being like, "Mom, you were right the entire time, and I'm sorry, and like now we can work on this together," instead of kind of being fighting and kind of bickering, or you being off with Hopper instead of you can do it with us now. We can all do it together.
Just a small scene. Get the mom and son back together talking again. But then there's some commotion out in the main area where it's Troy and his mom. They just showed up, and the mom's yelling at Callahan saying what does she call it? She calls him deputy, and he goes, "I'm an officer," and he's showing her what does she say? She's like, he's showing her attitude or something, and she's claiming that Callahan is humiliating her son. And then the mom says, "A psychotic child broke my son's arm." And then Callahan goes, "It was a little girl, Chief, a little girl." And with the attitude, she's like, "See, look at the attitude." But it's okay. I don't like Callahan, and I definitely don't like Troy. But I like Troy less, so I like Callahan making fun of Troy.
I like Callahan a lot. He's really funny, but he is kind of just like, he downplays everything, whether it's like how crazy somebody is or the seriousness of a situation. And he's like, "Oh, it was a little girl, man. Like, this kid should be fine. We should send him on their way and not worry about it." And the mom's like, "Are you serious? My son's arm's broken and he pissed his pants. Like, what's going on?"
Yeah. Oh, here it is. I forgot. I wrote it here. It's the tone. The tone. His tone was hilarious. I loved it. But then Troy mentioned something about how the girl had no hair and a nosebleed, and that's when Hop stops and he's like, "Wait, what'd you say? Then no hair." And then Troy says, "Yeah, she can do things. She can make you fly and piss yourself." She says she's always hangs out with those losers. He says she always hangs out with the losers. Hop's like, "What losers?" And so, but then it cuts away. But we know who the quote unquote losers are.
Exactly.
And we cut to this is a scene with Steve and the people we don't like Tommy and Carol.
Did we do the
which-
scene where Karen is like freaking out and Teddy like, honey, this is the government. They're on our side.
That's coming up. Not
Okay.
quite there. But I do love that scene.
I love that part. It's like
I do love that
Oh,
scene.
Ted.
Yeah. But we're here at the convenience store with Steve. And
Yeah.
Steve's face is all bloody for one thing. Did you see how mashed up his face is? Like I said, they go above and beyond when people are getting beat up. They're really getting beat up. But Tommy and Carol are being jerks like always. They're making fun of Jonathan. They said he looked weird during the fight. They're making fun of his face, Jonathan's face. And Steve has just had enough with these two. He starts yelling at them he's like, you shouldn't have done the graffiti. You shouldn't have done all this stuff. He has a small little skirmish with Tommy where Tommy actually kind of scares me. Tommy grabs him and he says, you couldn't take Jonathan and you can never take me either. And he kind of scared me a little bit. But this is the last scene with Tommy and Carol. We're now done with them because Steve hops in his car and he drives away. So I think we're mostly done with them.
I was watching this last night with my wife, and I didn't realize because a lot of the Steve season 1, debate or dialogue or discussion is a lot of Steve was a bad guy in season 1, and kind of he has kind of the hero's return at the end, washing off the other graffiti and being nice to Nancy, and becomes who we all love in seasons 2 through 5. But he
Mommy.
I didn't realize that he didn't write the graffiti. Tommy did.
No, Tommy's the one who did all the graffiti.
Yeah, I didn't realize that.
Steve
at
was.
first.
I think Steve was just kind of standing behind with his hands in his pockets.
Yeah.
Which I think
he's kind of a kind of a what's the word? It's kind of the bystander effect of like, I'm gonna let it happen. I'm not gonna stop it, but I'm not gonna be like involved in it. If that's what we're doing here, like you can do it. I'm not gonna say no because I'm still mad at her, but I'm also not gonna do anything to stop it, which makes him kind of bad and also kind of responsible, but also like didn't really do it. So
I'm sure everyone, if you're a Stranger Things fan, you have heard the lore about how Steve was supposed to be written as the bad guy the whole time. And I think he was supposed to be killed off probably by the Demogorgon in the last episode. So he was not supposed to stick around and become a fan favorite that he becomes, obviously.
Thank you, Joe Keery.
Yeah,
for being awesome.
Yeah. The story is the Duffers loved Joe Keery, loved what he brought to the character, so they found a way to rewrite the story a little bit. And I actually heard they kind of rewrote it using Lonnie instead. They got Lonnie was supposed to be in kind of a spot where Steve was at the end. I think Lonnie was actually supposed to show up and have the bat.
Oh.
And hit the Demogorgon. So they wrote Lonnie out, put Steve in. And that's why I actually have noticed that they kept Steve in every episode, but a lot of it is just like one scene here and one scene in each episode, essentially. Just to keep him alive so that he could have that cool bat flip finish at the end in the next episode. Right? Yeah. So like you said, they had to rewrite it, so like you still just really don't like him at first. It's hard. I think it was hard for them to rewrite the whole thing. Like they still had to leave a lot of it in there where it's like he's doing some bad things, but they found a way around it, I think, and redeemed him, obviously. And we all love Steve now. Yeah,
he's the best.
He is. And so he drives away from Tommy and Carol, and I think we're pretty much done with them. We might get a scene of them in season 2, but for the most part, we're pretty much done with those jerks. But now we're back at the Wheelers. The lab guys are grabbing stuff, filling boxes of random stuff. I like how they showed a guy with a whole box of the D&D stuff. And I just thought, hey, don't take the kids' D&D stuff. That's their favorite toys. Come on, man. What the heck? And then a Hop is snooping on... Wait, what did I write here? I forget what I wrote. Oh, Hop is snooping on house with binoculars. That's right. Remember Hop and Joyce and Jonathan and Nancy, they're up like on a hill watching this happen with binoculars. And then Nancy gets out of like the car and sees what's going on, and she's worried about her parents, maybe where she thinks Mike may still be down there. So she wants to go down there and see what's going on. I don't know what she thought she was going to do with all the lab people there. But Hop stops her and says, "No, you'll get caught. You don't want to be caught. You don't want to get involved with this." And she's like, "But Mike, I got to help him." And he points to the helicopter because there's another helicopter still floating around. He goes, no, Mike isn't caught yet. Look, they're still looking for him, which I thought was pretty smart of Hopper to be like, look, they haven't found him yet. He's still out there somewhere, so we can find him. Yeah. And then that's when he goes, we need to find Mike. Does anybody know how to find him? And then I like how Nancy says something about how, like, well, we're not talking much lately. And I guess that's true. The only scenes we've seen with Nancy and Mike is just them bickering at the kitchen table. Otherwise, they haven't interacted in any other way, I don't think. Just bickering.
Well, I didn't even remember Hopper and Nancy having dialogue together. Like, they rarely ever talk, like, ever.
Yeah, that's a good call.
And, like, I think this is the first time they've talked, because the other officers talked to Nancy earlier when Barb is missing. Hopper's not there. Hopper is dealing with the kids and obviously with Joyce's stuff. And I'm sure they do to some extent, but I don't think they have many scenes that are shared outside of, like, the whole gang being back for, like, the climax of the seasons. Like, they're often not together at all. So to have them have this kind of small, albeit, like, important scene of Hopper being like, your brother's fine, you need to be okay too, like, don't get involved, just stick with us, kind of thing. It's nice to kind of tie everything together and make sure that every character is talking to each other, because that doesn't happen as the seasons go on.
That's a good call, because they do interact in season 5, but maybe they don't interact much between 2, 3, and 4. Because remember in 5 when she pops up out of the truck and she's popping the military guys, and he tells her, like, good shooting or something. Remember that?
There's a real case that they don't have a single line of dialogue for each other for, like, the next 3 seasons.
Yeah,
that I can remember.
That's something to keep track of. That's funny.
Which would be crazy.
I also forgot to mention when I mentioned the helicopter flying over, when he's like, don't worry, they haven't found him yet. And she looks up the helicopter and goes, that's for Mike? Like, she's like, what? I thought that was kind of funny. But then the last of this scene is when Jonathan goes, I think I might know how to ask him. And then they cut to the Byers' house, and they all walk in. And when they walk into the Byers' house, Nancy does that quick stop and goes, whoa. Because she looks at that.
All the lights.
Like, this house is a mess. Well, it's a mess too. Like, everything's broken. It seems like everything's broken. The lights. She's like, whoa, because she hasn't seen this mess. Everybody else has. They all walk in, walk past it. It doesn't affect them. But I thought that was a cool little, just a stopping point for Nancy. But they're looking for the walkie-talkie. Remember, that's what they're doing. That was Jonathan's idea. Yeah. They're gonna find the walkie-talkie. And then we cut to the junkyard. They're in the bus, and Nancy's calling for Mike on the walkie. And I think, is this the point where Dustin, I think Dustin is pacing in a different scene when they're waiting for them. He's not pacing yet. This is just the walkie-talkie scene. So they kind of get a little back and forth with the walkie-talkie. Mike doesn't trust it, and he doesn't really trust his sister, which I thought was kind of funny. But he says, oh, the lab people might have caught them, and they're forcing them to call us, which it could be happening. But I like how Lucas goes, it's your sister. Mike, maybe they got her. Dustin, it's like Lando Calrissian. Don't answer. I like that call out to Star Wars. It's like Lando. And then Hop grabs the walkie and just goes, come on, kids. It's me, Hop. Come on, pick up. We know about the girl, meaning 11, and we can protect you. And they're like, they know about 11 too? Oh, man. And then finally they answer. Mike goes, yeah, I copy. Over. So they're going to finally start getting back together. We're getting there. We're getting there. And we cut over actually to the movie theater. This is Steve's other little scene where we're in front of the graffitied sign above the movie theater. And he just tells the guy who works there, who's up on the ladder trying to clean it. He goes, hey, you need a hand? And the guy goes, didn't you have something to do with this? And he just goes, I just want to help. And the guy goes, okay, tosses him the rag. Steve climbs up the ladder. He starts washing it. Did you notice the ladder? How it's like a little too far, and Steve's leaning a little too far on the ladder. Did you happen to notice that?
I didn't, but okay.
Okay, they need to move that ladder over like 3 or 4 feet. He's leaning way too far. Just a little observation.
Yeah. You don't come here for a breakdown of the episode. You come here for how to place your ladder.
Exactly.
This is a hardware podcast now.
It is.
It's a DIY.
Let's see. I think this might be your favorite scene. We're back at the Wheelers, and the lab people are finally left, and Karen and Ted are watching them leave out the window. And Karen says they want us to just sit here like prisoners and not go look for the kids. You know, they just want us to stay here. And Ted goes, "We have to trust them. This is our government. They're on our side."
Have to trust them. Okay, this is our government. They're on our side.
Does anyone ever trust the government? Come on, man. Especially these days. Jeez.
Even when the government was maybe a little more trustworthy, he still didn't trust them that much.
No,
because you just knew something was going on. Oh man.
And then Karen,
and
then Karen thinks to herself, "Hey," she says it out loud, "You think Nancy's involved too?" And then Ted just laughs it off. "Yeah, right. Nancy and Mike together? No way. They don't talk, bro and sis. No way. Yeah, right."
So good.
So funny.
Love Ted.
Our kids interacting? That never happens. And we're back at the junkyard. Oh, this is when Dustin's pacing. He's all, it's all a trap. It's a Lando thing. He mentions Lando again, and Lucas says, you always think it's a trap. You always think something's wrong. And then Lucas says the chief wouldn't set us up. Nancy maybe, but not the chief. And I love it when he says Nancy maybe, because then Mike goes, "That's my sister, bro." What, bro? But then we get 2 cars that pull up, and 3 bad guys pop out, all in their little 3-piece suits. One of the guys spots the kid's bikes under the bus, so he's like, "Oh, they must be in this bus." So he's about to open the door, get into the bus, and then whack, and then another whack, and then another whack, and then then more whacks and thuds, and then the door opens and Hop comes in and he goes, "All right, let's go." Just super casual. "Come on, let's go." And they're all just like, "Huh?" And he goes, "Come on, let's go." And they're like, "Okay." Hop is a superhero right now, man.
Literally.
What did he do with those 3 guys out there? I actually like that we didn't see it. Because what could he possibly...
It would have been so unbelievable had we seen him knock out 3 government officials with guns that are loaded, pointed at him, ready to go. Like, come on now.
It kind of reminds me of an Indiana Jones scene, too. Because Indiana can always get out of, like, any situation. And he kind of has... Hop has a cool hat on. It's not quite an Indiana Jones hat, but it's a cool hat. So he just come on, guys, let's go. I took care of those 3 guys. Let's go.
It reminded me somewhat of, to a way lesser extent, when Hop is yelling at Joyce. I think it's in season 3. "You're right, Joyce."
Yes.
And he's like, "Let's go. Let's go, boys.
Let's go.
Come on." Like, we gotta go. Like, we gotta get the gears in motion. You're lollygagging. I just knocked out 3 government officials. We gotta go before they get back up. Come on now. Time is of the essence.
It might be one of the first Let's Go. Have you ever seen on Instagram or YouTube where someone put together a whole montage of all the Let's Goes?
No, I have not seen it.
It's pretty. This might be one of the first Let's Goes. So they say it a lot in the series. Then we're back at the Byers' house. You got Nancy and Jonathan and Joyce. They're just sitting on their couch waiting for Hop to get back. Hop gets back with the kids. Nancy runs out to give Mike a hug because she hasn't seen her brother. Didn't know where he was. And she goes, "Oh, Mike, I was so worried about you." And I love how Mike goes, "Yeah, me too." Okay, I love it how he says that because he didn't know Nancy was involved with any of this. It's I like how they put that in there. I like how they put that in there. Like, yeah, me too, I guess. I didn't even know you were even like involved. You know? And
you're like, cool.
Well, if you think about it, like the last time he saw her, they were just bickering at the kitchen table. She's just her whole focus
over the syrup and the eggs, right?
Yeah, or the fact that he saw Steve being a ninja climbing up the window, and that's all her focus. Her focus is just on Steve and boys, and just having fun, going to the party. And then all of a sudden, she's been in the Upside Down. She's wielded a gun and shot a can. I mean, she's done a lot of things since the last time he saw her.
She shot a can.
Yeah. But then the last part is she looks over at 11 and she goes, "Is that my dress?" I thought that was kind of funny. And then 11's just like, "Yeah, it is. Sorry. I borrowed it." And they go back inside the house. So we're still at the Byers. Mike is doing the flea acrobat thing again on the paper, trying to explain to everybody that whole thing. Dustin's explaining the compass and the gate thing. They're linking all of that to the lab.
Yeah, we finally have our come together moment after being in the same scenes for the last 4 episodes and all having their own separate information, now finally coming together. And it's like, had you just done this the last 4 hours of television, we could have streamlined the whole process, but we're doing it now.
We're doing it now.
We're going to set it up for the big plan at the school in this episode and the next one, obviously.
Yeah. Well, then Hopper kind of understands what they're saying because he's been and seen the gate. So he goes, is this gate underground? 11. I like how 11, I think it might be her first line in the episode. She goes, yes. And he kind of looks over at her. And he goes,
that's her second line because she tells Lucas earlier, like, friends don't lie. I'm sorry.
Oh, good call. I think she talked to Mike in the bathroom too. But we haven't heard her talk for a while now. Since then, she's kind of, she doesn't talk a lot anyways.
She doesn't talk to adults. She's like trusting Joyce and Hopper a lot here.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Yeah, her first time in trusting these adults, but I mean, her friends trust them, so she's probably finally like, okay, these must be the trustworthy adults because my friends trust them.
It's trust by association for sure.
Yeah, but I like the little back and forth between her and Hop because he goes, "Is the gate underground?" Yes. Near a large water tank. 11. Yes. Dustin says, "How do you know?" And then I like how Mike chimes in. He goes, "Because he's seen it. He can tell." He's like, he's seen it. And then Joyce asks 11, "Can you talk to Will?" And then Nancy adds in, "And my friend Barbara." Oh yeah.
No one cares about her, Nancy. No one cares.
We don't care, Nancy. Sorry, no one cares about Barb. But yeah, sure.
She's gone. Forget about her.
Try to find her. Give that a shot too, I guess.
She was dragging it down anyways. Move on.
Yeah, but 11 just looks at all of them and just gives her 11 nod. Then we get a scene of a static radio. I think they're at the kitchen table. 11's trying to reach Will and Barb. The lights flicker a little, but 11 looks all sad because it's not working. She's having trouble. Yeah. She's having trouble accessing the void. And then we cut to the bathroom where 11's in the bathroom, still sad, kind of a little teary-eyed. She's washing her face, but she turns and looks at the bathtub, and she has an idea. So we go back into the kitchen. The three boys are explaining to everyone how 11 can get tired and weak when she's using her powers, which is what must have just happened. And they say, like, when she just flipped the van earlier, which Dustin says it was awesome. He got an awesome for the van flip again. And then Joyce asks, how long do you think you have to wait for her to, like, repower, you know? How long do we have to wait? Because she is impatient, which I would be. She wants to find Will, so that's fine. But 11 walks out and goes, "The bath. I can find them in the bath." And then that's kind of the end of that scene, but I thought it was kind of vague because she just walks out and goes, "The bath. I can find them in the bath." And they all have to look at her and go, "What are you talking about?" Like, it's so vague. They cut away. We don't get to see her explaining to anybody what she means.
Right.
And my assumption is Dustin probably kicks in here and he's like, "Okay, you talk to me. We'll talk back and forth. We'll figure out what you're talking about." Because
well, he's
the smarty pants.
Well, and then he ends up calling Mr. Clark and like, "Hey, how do we do this? You know, like, we have a plan here." Like,
which is why I think it was Dustin probably trying to figure out the whole bathtub thing. He knows what I think he kind of has an inkling of what she's talking about because he calls Mr. Clark, and we cut to a scene of him watching The Thing, the movie The Thing, which is all kind of gross. He's hanging out with a girlfriend, by the way. Mr. Clark, he's got a girlfriend. Good for you, Mr. Clark.
Mr. Clark often has his girlfriend time interrupted. I think the government did this. Yeah. I think maybe Hopper did this. Maybe the kids did it earlier. And now they're doing it again. So, like, he didn't get much free time with his lady friend at all.
No, it happens in season 5 again. Remember what? Yeah. Remember when Murray is involved? What does he call him? Does he call him Cupcake or something? Or
I don't know. Murray's always saying
his girlfriend gave him a pet name, and then Murray kept it around, kept calling him might not have been Cupcake, but it's still a funny scene. Mm-hmm. But Mr. Clark's with his girlfriend. He's telling her about the melted plastic and the microwave bubble gum scene in the movie The Thing. And then the phone rings, and it's Dustin. So Dustin's ruining Mr. Clark's date. Poor Mr. Clark. And Dustin's like, "I got a science question for you." And Mr. Clark's like, "Dude, it's 10 o'clock on a Saturday."
Yeah. Not the time.
He's like, "Well, I need to know how to build a sensory deprivation tank." And he goes, "For what?" He goes, "For fun." And he goes, "Let's talk about this on Monday, okay? Monday after school." And then this is when we get Dustin going, "You said to open all curiosity doors. Why are you keeping this curiosity door locked?" Mr. Clark, he's so silly. But that is a good line. That might be the line of the episode there. Why are you keeping this curiosity door locked? But Mr. Clark is very smart. Like, he knows exactly how to build this thing, and Dustin also knew how to get at him. So we get a scene of Dustin taking notes back at the Byers. Mr. Clark's telling him how to build it. Dustin's on the phone going, okay, yeah, sure, okay. Like, I love how he's like, okay, cool, going back and forth, Mr. Clark. And then I love how he goes, yeah, we'll be careful. So Mr. Clark's like, hey, you make sure you be careful. And Mr. Clark is also like still talking when Dustin hangs up the phone, which is hilarious. Like, Dustin's like, okay, we got enough now, bye, and just hangs up. I thought that was kind of funny. And then he says to everybody, okay, we need a kiddie pool and we need 1,500 pounds of salt. A lot of salt.
It's like, all right.
I think I read somewhere too where they actually use almost that much salt to get 11 to float in the bathtub. I don't think it was quite 1,500, but it was a lot.
Interesting.
But so they head off to Hawkins Middle School because I guess that's where they keep all the salt for, I guess, when it snows in Hawkins. They use it to salt the streets. So they got plenty of salt there. So they're stealing the salt. And then Jonathan, I don't know if he's being a goody two-shoes or just to give him a line. He goes, hey, it's not going to snow next week, right? And Hopper just goes, if it does, they just get no school, whatever. Don't worry about it, dude. But then small little back and forth for Jonathan and Hopper where Jonathan says, if we find Will in there, what about the Demogorgon? How are we going to evade that? And Hopper's like, you don't need to worry about that. You're not going. I'm going. You're not going. I am, and I'm going to find him. And he like kind of grabs him by the neck and goes, don't worry, I'm going to find him. Like kind of a little moment between them.
Well, I think his exact words were like, you need to trust me, which is the exact same thing he told Joyce earlier in the season. And she was like, you need to trust me as well. He was like, yeah, but you're crazy. So I don't know if I do that right now. then they come to trust each other. But this is more of like, it's setting the seeds, whether intentional or just by circumstance, of like Hopper kind of becoming, a father figure for Jonathan as the seasons go on. And when everything kind of, comes full circle, he is Jonathan's stepdad in a way at the end of season 5. So it's a nice moment of like, you got to trust me and I'm going to prove to you why you can trust me. I'm going to get your brother back. And you don't have to worry about it. Like I'm going to go in there and do what you think you're going to have to do, but I'm going to do it for you instead.
Yeah. And Hopper is definitely way better. I mean, he's also like ex-military, right? And he's been proving him. He's been proving himself this season. He's been preparing for this moment his entire life. I'm getting some confidence in Hopper here that he can pull this off.
Exactly.
And then, so now we're at the gym at the school, and then we're going to be at the gym for a while now. So everything we're talking about, we're mostly at the gym and at the school. At the gym, you got Dustin and Lucas unrolling the little kiddie pool. And they're kind of fumbling with it. It's a funny scene. They're like, this isn't working. Probably Dustin again saying, "Oh, son of a bitch." He loves dropping those lines.
Oh yeah.
And then outside you got Mike and Nancy they're trying to break into a closet to get a hose to fill up the kiddie pool.
Yeah.
Were you laughing because of the scene where Mike tries to break the door open and he breaks his shoulder?
He's like, oh
god. But Nancy just grabs a rock and just smashes the lock on it, and Mike kind of looks at her like, big sis, look at you. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
There's more to my sister than I thought there was. Maybe she is a little maybe Nancy's kind of cool.
I mean, Nancy might have like the biggest growth arc in this season. I mean, I don't think anyone's really 100%. Grown more than her in this season. I mean, she went from being very annoying to me in like episode 1 and 2 to being like one of my favorites. So pretty cool for Nancy. Yeah. But they're walking back over to the gym with the hose, and Nancy asks Mike, "So what did 11 eat?" And I love this is a good one. Mike goes, "Oh, candy, leftovers, Egos. She really likes Egos." I love how he says that. She really likes Egos. Well, then you get Nancy. They talk a little bit. Nancy goes, "No more secrets from now on, okay? We need to tell each other everything." Which I put, haha, yeah, right, because they never tell each. No one talks in these seasons. Everyone keeps everything to themselves so that they could have the Avengers Assemble thing in like the penultimate episode.
Well, then they immediately lie to each other right after they say that, and it's like, okay.
Because they ask each other, like, do you like 11? Do you like Steve?
Yeah.
No. Yeah. Because do you like 11? Nancy asks, and Mike goes, what? No, ew, gross. Well,
Ew.
so little kid just saying, ew, gross, girls, ew. And then we cut over to Joyce and 11. Kind of a small scene, but a very good scene for Joyce. She's making some blackout goggles for 11, and she tells her that she's very brave, and she's thanking her for helping her family. Just a really good, like, kind of motherly moment for 11 and Joyce. I thought that was a good scene.
Yeah,
the first time for 11.
It also builds the relationship that we come to know and love. You know, they go to California together, or at least, kind of. And I think it also, like, it shows that Joyce is willing to go to any lengths to get her child back, even if that means using a child with superpowers of like, hey, I'll do whatever it takes. So thank you so much. But also it shows that, like, Joyce also views 11 not just as a kid, although she's a child. She views her as, a respectful human being of, like, you're not going to be, in a hospital gown. You're not going to be seen as less than around me. Like, yeah, you are a kid and you should listen to what I have to say because I'm an adult, but also, like, that shouldn't remove me from being thankful for your sacrifice because they don't know what's coming next. Like, they can all die. There's a Demogorgon out there. Anything can happen. And so if 11's going to at least help them, like, she's even in a small moment being like, thank you so much for being a part of this, even if it doesn't end up the way we hope it does, which we now know it ends up pretty positive, but still.
Yeah. And I think it's like the first time 11 has had, like, any motherly compassion shown to her. So pretty cool.
I think this is the first conversation she's had with a woman.
Maybe.
In the entire season, this is the first because it's Papa, it's, Benny, it's, I guess Hopper to a little bit, and then it's, she doesn't talk to Nancy outside of the scene previously, and that's kind of just like a one-off, one-word exchange.
Yeah.
And then she talks to the boys, and that's it. Like, this is the first conversation she's had with an adult woman the entire season.
Yeah, definitely on screen for sure.
Yeah.
Funny. Well, then we get the filling the pool montage. They got to fill it with water. So they got this little back and forth of make it colder, make it warmer. It's got to be like the right temperature. They're filling it with salt. They got to have the right amount of salt. You get Dustin using an egg to see if it's the right, like, consistency. So if it floats, I guess that's when they got it calibrated correctly. And then when it does float, you get the big Dustin grin, which I always love. And then they set up the radio, turn on the static. 11 puts on her blackout goggles, and she gets in the water with her dress on, which I thought was a little odd. I would have rather not be floating in the water with this, like, big frilly dress on. It's going to soak up a lot of water. And then you get a little bit of light, the light surging. Maybe they go out, but then we kind of sink into the void. And we get the black void. 11's walking around the void. She finds Barb. Barb's not looking good, man. Barb's all gross, and there's, like, a gross thing crawling out of her mouth. So she's clear that she's gone. Poor Barb. And 11 goes, gone.
Are we? So I have so many questions. Continue, and then I'll ask my questions afterwards.
Okay. Well, you get I was gonna say only Nancy seems to care about Barb, because everyone else is like, it's okay. They're trying to calm down 11 because she's all sad that Barb is gone, and so they're like, what about Will? Let's move on to Will. Forget Barb. So she calms down 11. I also put good mom vibes for being able to calm her down. And then 11 goes and finds Castle Byers, which I thought Castle Byers actually looked kind of cool in the void, because it's just Castle Byers sitting there in amongst all the black outline.
Right.
Will is in there. He's alive. And then they hear him say, hurry over the radio, which I thought was kind of cool, because 11 goes up and says, your mom is coming. He says, hurry. And it's cool that they all can hear his voice. So, like, proof, like, oh my God, he is alive. And then 11 tells him to hold on a little longer. Okay. They're coming. But then the castle and Will suddenly start to fade away. Kind of spooks 11 a little bit, and she wakes up, and then Joyce gives her a big hug and starts trying to calm her down. But it was a cool scene.
Yeah. So It is a really cool scene. It kind of cements, it kind of ends Nancy's search for Barb. Like she knows she's dead, and kind of ends that part of the show and her search. But also for Will, it kind of cements like we have a job to do still, and we have to go now into the gate and go into the Upside Down and find him and everything, which leads to them trying to distract the Demogorgon and everyone kind of playing their part in that. But I have a couple questions. One, so Barb is dead. Okay. Are we to assume the Demogorgon ate her, or are we to assume that killed her in whatever way that occurred? But also, did he like string her up and put a tentacle up to her face and like try to make demodogs out of them, like we see in season 2 that Will is coughing up some of we coughs up dart right in season 2, or I guess at the end of season 1, then it leads to a demodog. Are we to believe like they're trying to do kind of some alien cocoon action of like we're going to make her into demodogs and kind of see how that, and like use her body as kind of I guess a breeding ground, if you will, to use a probably non-medical term. Like, is that the case for Barb? Then I have some questions about Will as well, but what do you think of the Barb stuff first?
Do you remember that I sent you like an Instagram post of someone talking about this whole Barb issue of like why did they take her?
Yes, I do.
And it was about how they're thinking that maybe that the Demogorgon and possibly one Henry Vecna took Barb as well to test out and see if they can manipulate older kids. Or older, like teenagers or high school kids. And so I actually really liked this take because there's no other reason for the Demogorgon to have taken Barb except to take her and try to use her and manipulate her. And maybe they found out that they were unable to do that, where Will, younger, easier to manipulate. So they found out, okay, we can use kids of this age or maybe a little younger. But Barb is too old and we weren't able to manipulate her, so we just discarded her body and then that's it. Which I kind of like that take.
Okay. And then I have some questions about Will. So they're more about establishing a timeline of when Vecna took him in season 1 compared to what we saw in the flashback to begin season 5, right? So in my head, we do see like the lights start to flicker a little bit before Castle Byers kind of vanishes. And then we do eventually see them yank the tube out of Will's mouth later, thus showing he was strung up against the wall. Hence, he was taken by Vecna already.
Yeah.
It's my canon of like, he vanishes because this is where the demo takes him. And he's running away from the demo to begin season 5. Is that
I think
yours?
so. Yeah. That's what I was thinking too. Totally. Okay. For sure.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
So the next scene is Hopper asking them, so where is this fort? Because they brought up the Castle Byers. And all he does is say, where's this fort? Then he walks outside. So I guess they told him where the fort is. He's like, okay, well, I'm going to go. So I guess he's going to go into the Upside Down, go find the fort, go find Will all by himself. But Joyce follows him. She's like, what are you doing? Hop's like, you go back inside. So he intends to go alone. And Joyce is like, no, I'm not going anywhere. You're insane. I'm going too. And I like how she goes, I'll go, you stay. So she's going to go in the Upside Down by herself. I thought that was funny, but mom power. and she's like, he's my son and I'm going. And then she tells Jonathan to go inside and watch the kids. And I brought this up because I guess Jonathan, he followed Joyce outside too to talk to Hopper. But I like how she tells Jonathan to go inside and watch the kids. And I'm like, okay, 1, he's not going to do that. And 2, he is no babysitter like Steve, obviously. Because when he's told to keep track of the kids, he's like, nah, and we know later on he bails and he's not watching the kids. So I just thought it's funny to link him as not the babysitter. Steve becomes the babysitter later on. And that's how we see Steve. So anyways, Jonathan's not a babysitter. Joyce and Hop leave in the car, and they're going to go to the lab and try to find Will. One last scene, I believe, at the school here with it's Jonathan and Nancy. They're in a hallway, and there's Nancy's sitting in front of like this big like painted wall with a U.S. flag and a tiger, so it just kind of looks cool. And then Nancy, they talk back and forth just for a few minutes, but Nancy says she wants to finish what they started and she wants to go monster hunting still. So her and Jonathan are going to go get the monster. And then we flash back to the lab. We're at the lab fence. It's Hopper and Joyce, so they pull up in their car, hop out. Hop is going to cut a little hole in the fence again with his little cut in the chains. It's just the same thing he did like a few episodes ago, where he actually even says this. He's like, well, it worked last time. Maybe it'll work again. Oh, he's like, oh, I'm just going to try it again. So I guess his idea was just to cut a hole in the fence, go sneak in through one of the doors, go sneak back
walk right in.
Walk right. Yeah, like it's kind of funny, but maybe he wanted to get captured too, because he's like, I don't think I can get back in. Capture me, I'll talk my way out of it. Maybe they'll just let us go in. Yeah. Then we cut back to the police station. It's Nancy and Jonathan are sneaking into the police station to get their box of supplies. And I put that there's some other cop in there who is completely unaware of his surroundings because they just sneak right past him easily. And also, hey, there's some more cops working in there. I thought it was just Callahan and Powell. And then as they're leaving with their box of supplies, I saw Nancy grabbed a fire extinguisher off the wall. So she's got a little plan for that too. We cut back to the lab. Hop and Joyce are just kind of walking along the lawn up to the lab. And they're caught instantly. They're caught right away. Lights flick on. Guys swarm. And then Hop just tells Joyce, he's like, it's okay. It's all right. Just let me do the talking. So maybe that was his plan all along. We're just going to pretend we're sneaking in and I'll talk my way out of it. Or talk my way in. More like it.
Ooh.
And then the last scene we get is we flash back to Castle Byers and the Upside Down with Will. And he's shivering in there. But he's also singing his favorite song, like always, The Clash. Should I stay or should I go now? Right. And then we hear a demo sneaking up outside. He's kind of lurking around the castle there, stomping around. And then all of a sudden he blasts through the wall. And then we cut to black.
Right.
And that's the end of that one.
What a stinger. Are they going to save Will in time? You have to find out on the next episode of Stranger Things.
So it was definitely a short episode, action-packed. So action it's easier to like talk through the action-packed scenes too. So here we are we're only an hour into our episode. We're wrapping up. We're going to do our
That's what I'm talking about, baby. We call this efficiency.
Nice. Let's wrap it up with our post game where we're going to hand out an MVP. You got one, Sterling?
I do. I think the MVP for this episode is 11. I think she's phenomenal. I think her acting is great. I think she kind of takes more of a heroine-esque role now that everyone's together. I think her scenes with Joyce, her very, very, very small interactions with Hopper, and then her flipping the car is just an awesome moment. It's an iconic scene from season 1. I think Millie Bobby Brown has, albeit not had the most lines, there have been so many quiet moments, the eye acting, the facial expressions. She's awesome in this season and in this episode. And, you know, there isn't much like emotion of like her crying or, you know, whatnot, but like when she has to look like a superhero, she looks like one and she crushes it. When she has to be quiet and reserved and scared, she crushes it. And it's episodes like this that, yes, make her iconic, but also really ground the character in a sense of like, she's a human little girl that just wants a home and someone to be with. And I think one of my favorite lines of hers comes at the beginning of the episode where Mike is saying like, I'm so glad you're home. And she goes, me too. Yeah. Not signifying only that I'm happy to be back with Mike, but also I'm happy to be back home. She considers the Wheelers' house, although no one knows she's there besides the boys. This is my home, which doesn't become her home long term, but she feels safe and has a sense of security and protection. So I think it's a good episode for her. I think she kills it in this episode as a whole.
She really does. I don't know if you noticed too, when she was in Castle Byers talking to Will, her voice changes a little and she actually like is really pronunciating and like she's really like honed in and focused. And when she says like, don't worry, hold on a little longer, they're coming, like she just sounds a little different, a little more grown up in that point. Like I think she's just really honed in. She's all business. I like that part too.
Yeah, it does come across when she has like a task or like she has an objective to complete. She's very focused, and like
Yeah.
a lot of her pitfalls aren't her fault, whether it's her inability to kind of speak very well. Like a lot of that goes by the wayside, and she's just like, this is my goal and I'm going to do everything it takes to get there. And it kind of like erases a lot of her weaknesses as a character, which is really cool to see.
Yeah. And I think it's going to be the first time that someone gets the MVP from both of us, because I'm going to give it to 11 too. But I had an interesting reason for how I was trying to figure it out, because I feel like it's a busy episode for everyone. Everyone's involved and everyone does such a good job. And it's quite evenly spread out. Everyone gets like a little moment. I mean, all of them. And I think if we count our main characters, I think we are at 8. We got the 3 boys. We got the 3 boys, middle schoolers. We got the 2 high schoolers. We got the 2 grown-ups, and then we got 11. So that we got 8. Yeah. And it spreads out for all of it. Everyone gets a line. I mean, even Dustin fits some good parts in with Mr. Clark. I mean, you name it. Mike has a bunch of... Mike's the leader. He kind of regains his role as the leader in this episode. And I kind of forget where he goes in the next, but I think he might continue as the leader in the next episode. I kind of forget, but we'll see. But how I decided on 11 was I thought the 3 boys kind of did a great job, but cancel each other out. I thought the 2 high schoolers, Nancy and Jonathan, did a great job, but cancel each other out. Same thing with Joyce and Hop, cancel each other out. So that's why that left 11 to get the MVP for me. So that's why I gave it to 11 as well.
I think we all know deep down that Steve, being the awesome man he is, always gets the MVP of our hearts.
Yeah, he's not the main character yet, though. He's not quite there.
The redemption arc has begun.
But it has begun. I guess he becomes a main character in the next episode. I mean, I don't know if we want to throw him in there, but he might be.
Hey, Steve might be the MVP next episode for all we know. We shall see.
Oh my! I didn't even think about that. He might be. Whew! Watch out. Let's hand out or just state a few of our favorite quotes. I kind of already said mine earlier, so I'm just going to give it out now. I love the one where I love Dustin has great quotes all the time. When he's talking to Mr. Clark, and he said, "You said open all curiosity doors. Why are you keeping this curiosity door locked?" So I'm going to go with that one. It's funny. I like the funny quotes.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Mike early in the episode again, saying if anyone asks where I am, I've left the country. Like, it establishes the threat, and he's like, I may have to go run away if everything goes to crap. So it's a really nice scene where Karen's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
like, I have no idea what's going on.
But she also just lets them leave. She's like, all right, well, see you later.
Yeah. And then, like, a few minutes later, the entire government's like, where are your kids at? And they're like,
she's like, I don't know. He left the country.
And Ted's like, you better trust him, honey. It's the government.
I do want to call out Mike as well, though. That one where Nancy asked him what 11 was eating, and Mike goes, candy, leftovers, Eggos. She really likes Eggos. Just the way he says it is pretty funny.
That's good. That's good.
And then the last thing that we do, which I didn't actually have like a specific name for what we were calling it, but I think it's called the episode's defining moment. So the episode's defining moment, the singular, like the thing that happens in this episode where you can state to yourself, this is the episode where blank happened. I think we're going to go with the van flipping.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything else that we can really latch on to as much as that.
Yeah, nothing else really action-esque or iconic happens outside of the van scene. I'll make one recommendation. I think we should call it the one shining moment, and then we can all say the one shining moment of the episode. It'll be great.
Oh, okay. See, like I'm trying to come up with what to call it. In the last 6 episodes, I didn't really know what to specifically call it, but that's not bad.
The OSM, the one shining moment.
But I do like saying it's the episode where blank happened, because there's so many episodes, and sometimes you can forget, like, wait, which episode was that? It's like, oh, it's the one where the van flipped. Oh, okay. It's the episode where 11 flipped the board. That one. So.
Yep. So, that's again, like I said earlier, I was shocked it happened so early in the episode, but it's the biggest stunt they've done so far through season 1. Obviously, it'll get bigger and bigger and bigger as the series progresses. But for a season 1 kind of micro look, this is the biggest thing they've done when in regards to stunts. So it's really cool. They pull it off great. When 11 looks back and it's like, okay, that's incredible. That's awesome.
I guess since we have a couple extra minutes, I will say I read about the van flip. I heard they went to try to practice the van flip at like some parking lot, and they messed up the timing of like what was the hydraulics or something. They were supposed to flip it, and when they went to flip it, it actually like hit one of their cameras and cost them thousands of dollars.
Oh no! Oh no!
And then also I saw, if you go back and see when the van flips and flips over, it's pretty banged up, a little more than even just the flip would do. So it almost makes you think like they did it a few times. So that's why it's like, that's why it's so messed up. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Anyways, we did another one, Sterling.
We did it, Chris. We did it. We have one episode left in Stranger Things season 1.
Please do me a favor. Can you take us out?
Yes, I can. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, leave us a 5-star audio podcast review. Drop your comments down below. Tell us your favorite moment of the episode. Who is your MVP? What's your favorite quote? And what is your most iconic moment? The OSM, the one shining moment of episode 7 of Stranger Things, titled The Bathtub. Chris, always a pleasure, always fun, always a good one. And I cannot wait for the season finale next week of Stranger Things. Episode 8. I don't know what it's called. I'm gonna save it and push it off to next week, and we'll see where things go. But a
tease!
I can't wait. I can't wait. A little bit of a tease for the fans out there. A little bit of a tease.
There it is.
But should be fun. Can't wait to get into it, and hopefully, it leads us into a very action-packed season 2 in a few weeks. Which again, cannot wait for that. It is. We'll get there when we get there, but season 2 might be the most interesting season we look back at because it's one of the widely known as maybe the worst of the entire series, which doesn't mean it's bad. It just means that quality dips a little bit, but we'll get there when we get there. Can't wait to watch The Lost Sister when that thing comes up.
Spoiler alert. I'm going to try to change all of that for season 2 because it's one of my favorites.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, you have 2 teases, one for next week's season finale episode, but also the beginning of season 2. So you better come back here. Like I already said, like, share, and subscribe. Chris, always fun. Thank you everybody out there for watching and listening. And we'll see you next time on Just a Piece of Stranger Things.
Thank you, Sterling. Thank you, everybody.